This is the formal one.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, brother.
You too.
I know we've been planning this. It was good timing, I think.
For sure.
First of all, bro, how you been?
I've been good. Good. Lots happening, obviously.
Yeah. We'll get into it, bro. Can't wait.
So I've been getting back into training myself. So starting to get sharper again.
Yeah.
I sparred on Thursday and got out of the ring. Everyone's coming up to me going, fuck you.
Yeah.
Coming back now.
Yeah.
Which is good. So then doing the promotion as well.
Yeah.
So I just launched Wonder Promotions. We got our first event in June. So that's going to be awesome. So just leading up for that. Then obviously training you, training my nephew, training a few other people.
Yeah.
So it's busy, man.
We'll get to Wonder Promotion. I was definitely going to say when they were saying you're back, I know there's like certain things that could tell you, indicate that, and one that if I can hear you from the car park, then I know you're on. So it's good. It's good to see you back training. I know you went through your your own dramas with your health and everything, and it's good to find out. Good to see that you found a solution for it as well, and that's been making you feel better. So I think that's the most fucking important thing in all of this, anyway. Mate, so it's I feel like rough year and a bit.
I was 6 months I didn't train at all, and so for me now it's like getting back. I said no matter what happens, I'm gonna enjoy this whole journey, even. I know fighting or not fighting, whatever it is. I said I'm going to turn into a machine again.
Well, it was a bit painful because you had obviously a fight plan. You had a big fight plan, which I was going to be there that night as well. That would have been tough, man. Like, you're everyone who knows you knows you're a competitor, and you put so much, I think, time and investment because it was probably the biggest fight of your life. Yeah. At that point, so and then obviously, for those that don't know, obviously you being, just with your health and then obviously injuries and stuff pulled you back. And then obviously you found out later on that, there was something that was impacting the whole time that you didn't even know about, right? So what was that like, man? Just because you were saying how it's almost like you had to basically find the good out of that journey post, right?
Sure. Mate, I went through that whole fight because that fight got locked in. It was to be number one welterweight in Australia. Like it was against Ty Telford. He's a machine. Yeah. I was super keen for that fight. Like I was like, mate, this is the fight that's going to bring me up. You know. Yeah. And so we did. Went through the full fight camp. I think I had 2 weeks left, and I was sparring a couple of the top super welterweights, so that's a weight division above. Yeah. I was sparring Cohen, who's I think he's number 2 or 3 in Australia, behind Tim Tszyu. Then I was sparring Nikita Tszyu as well, and that Xander Zayas, who was here for George again post his camp. Mate, that guy's a machine. He's rated the top prospect in the world of the super welterweights. It was so funny when I actually got that call because I had started the camp, and I got a call and they said, "We want you to come down and spar this guy." And I looked him up and I'm like, I knew the name. I'm like, I had to confirm whether that was him or not. Okay, you guys serious? This guy's a monster compared to me. Like the guy is a huge super welterweight, and I'm a small welterweight. So it's like there was a massive difference, right? Yeah. And he was walking through all the super welterweights in Australia. None of the guys could do more than 4 rounds with him. That's what I had been told, anyways. And then so I said, "No, don't worry about it. I'm not interested." And then after that, I went home. I started thinking about it. I'm like, nah, I want to find out. I want to find out what this guy's about. Yeah. So I called up Arnell. I said, call him up and say we'll go down and spar. And so then we went down and spar, and of course he got the better of it. But I landed shots on him as well. Yeah. And then
he's a big dude, man. I've seen the picture. He's a big dude.
And then after, his coach came up to me and they said, "Man, you've been the best work that we've had here. Can we organise more sparring with you?" And then Ronnie, who was training George at the time as well, said to me, he goes, "Mate, you exposed some things on him when I was watching the sparring," because I didn't know how it was going. I didn't know how other people had been watching. So I ended up going down sparring him 8 times for that prep. And there was one time, I think it was either the last or second last time I sparred him. And mate, like we're going at it, and I was right in the mix with it. And I just remember that feeling. I'm like, man, I'm gonna knock this fight out of the park because I'm like, I was matching it with this guy, and I was more than comfortable. I think we did 8 rounds sparring, and I was like, I could keep going. And it was that feeling for me after. I was like, I'm playing at that level now. And I'm like, and everyone come up to me that was there watching. I've only been dropped like once or twice before with only body shots, right? And he dropped me in the last round with a body shot, and And I got up and I'm like, nah, fuck. I said, let's go. And then so we just started going hammer and tong. There was no. And then at the end, everyone was coming up to me going, man, that sparring was fucking mad.
Nice.
So that was good. And then I had a couple other mad sparring sessions with Cohen and then with Nikita, a couple good ones as well. But the whole time, right, because I felt like I wasn't recovering as well as I used to. I'm like, I don't know.
You did your shoulder as well, right?
In the lead up to doing this.
Yeah, that's right. You were saying.
Because I was sleeping ages. Each night I was sleeping like 10, 11 hours, and I was waking up fucking exhausted. And I was saying to Mags, my girlfriend, I'm saying, I just don't know whether I'm getting older or whatever, but I feel like my body's not recovering as well. And I felt super lethargic most of the day. I could get up for training and do that, and then I'd need a rest during the day. I couldn't do much in the night. I was getting double vision. And I'm like, is something wrong? Like I was thinking, there's something wrong with I'm getting too many hits in the head, or what is it? So anyways, that kept going, and we come closer to the fight. And then so I think I had sparred Nikita once already. And then I said, tee up another sparring. And then so we teed up that sparring, and mate, like we did 8 rounds, and we're going at it for that. That was our second spar. And I felt amazing. I'm like, I felt right in the mix or whatever. Then I went home, and I end up doing another double session, but super, super hard. Like, you know, our bunker sessions. Like there was no one around. And I could feel in my shoulder, and I'm like, rest it. And then I was thinking, because I was so close to the fight, I'm like, this is where you win in your mind. So I was saying, don't worry about what your body feels, just push through in your mind. And so I didn't listen to my body. And then I just kept pushing. And then, mate, I end up doing it in my shoulder. And then the next day I woke up, and I think I had sparring. This was a couple of days later. I had sparring with Nikita again, and I'm like, I couldn't even throw a jab. I couldn't even throw a jab. My shoulder was fully gone. I'm like, and then I'm like, I didn't want to cancel the sparring because I'm like, why would you? And I felt like shit from not being able to, like I ended up having a stomach parasite. That's what it was. And so I ended up going to the sparring, and mate, I was pretty much defenseless. I ended up like that was one of the worst spars I've ever had, just because I couldn't even use my jab with the fighter like that. He had 10 kilos on me, and I wasn't even keeping him off with my jab. So after that, I went home, and my body just felt to shit. And then so the next day I couldn't even lift my arm at all. And I'm like, man, this was 2 weeks before the fight, a week and a half. And I'm going, oh, fuck, I'm actually not going to be able to do this fight. And I was calling people, and I went and got 2 cortisone shots in my shoulder. And I said, I'm going to go through with this fight anyways. And then I went home trying to do a couple, like, bit of shadow boxing. I couldn't even do it, man. So I was calling up different people, and they said, this is not a fight you're going to go into it and be 50%, because you need to go into this fight at 100%. If you don't go in there, like, give it your all, or you go in there half underdone.
Yeah, but you'll be hard on yourself as well. You know,
so I was in such a sort of conflict with myself about whether to go through with it or not. And I didn't end up doing it, but I found out, I went and got all the MRIs, and I had a high grade tear in my forearm, and I had a capsular thickening in my shoulder as well. So that's what it was. So that was out for 3 months. I couldn't do that. And then I was still super sick. And then I found out later, it was like 6 months I was in bed for. I ended up having to stop work for a fair bit of time. Couldn't train. I didn't train in 6 months, and I ended up finding out I had a stomach parasite. Which I took the antibiotics for that, and then blasted it out. But it wrecked me.
Far out, man. That's.
I thought I was going to die. I'm seriously not kidding. Like when I say that, I went and got a heart scans, brain scans, because my vision and that was going all over the place.
There's so many things that have just unraveled in that period for you, like, you know, like, and you're probably thinking one thing, and it always ends up being something else.
That's what it was. I mean? So I went to 3 different specialists, and they said I had confirmed by 3 different specialists I had an autoimmune disease called myasthenia gravis, which is a pretty heavy autoimmune disease. And so I'm thinking, fuck, I was acting like I had a myasthenia gravis, because that's what they all told me.
Planted in your head
and
already.
So then I end up getting all the final test results and stuff like that, and they came back as negative. I had to go do this zapping test at the hospital. It was full on.
That's how they test it. But then fast track forward after all of that, bro. But somehow you've obviously now we're talking about Wonder Promotions. Like you found a way to because I mean, knowing you personally, and I'm sure everyone else feels the same way. You know, there's obviously a real genuine love for boxing, right?
Yeah.
What brought about the whole promotions and that idea? Was that something that you've been thinking about for a while, or is it something that came about, and you know, like as you've been on this journey?
So pretty much, my goal with the boxing was to build and change perceptions on boxing in Australia. Like obviously, people think it's a thug sport or it's violent, this and that. But like I can see the other side of it, as you would have as well. It actually, mate, it transcends life. Like when you go to places, you've been there as well. When you're in that zone, I say to people, nothing in the world can compare to that feeling. When and it's like it's just you and you. And it's like
one of the most rawest moments in your life, man. Like,
and you that's how you evolve. And so I always, it's been my goal to change the perception on that and actually grow it, especially the grassroots, because I've seen so much of young guys. I've been like, because I train in quite a few different gyms or whatever, right? Like even at Blacktown and that, and you see the disadvantaged younger guys coming through, and boxing gives them a vehicle to get out of it, or gives them an outlet to put out all the negative energy, get rid of their and transform it into something that actually builds them personally. So a lot of these kids, and they come from troubled backgrounds, different areas, disadvantaged places, and boxing is the great equalizer. Like I love it when I'm in the gym and there's different. I've trained with police officers, I've trained with thugs, train with all different walks of life, and we're all equal. You know, and then when you see that, when you're actually in the ring, and that, it's like everyone, like around the different environments, it's all been very very sort of like you're pushing each other. It's like you're helping each other on the journey, because you look at it like, even with me and you, right? Different people are on different journeys, and you see guys that are on a similar journey to you, and you can connect with them in a way that you wouldn't normally be able to connect. And so you do that through, like, it sounds through training hard, through pushing yourselves beyond your limits. And I love it. The biggest thing I love is seeing when someone reaches for that part inside themselves that's beyond what they already know, that it's that extension of themselves. And when they get to that level, it's like a whole new.
You get to see their reaction when it unravels in front of them, like ta-da, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, yeah, man, 100%. I agree, man. Like, it's just like I always say, man. It's like one of the things that even just this journey has taught me, even just being through these last few fights and everything, is, bro, the hardest thing is it's so hard to explain to someone that's not on that journey. It's so hard to explain to someone, like when they talk about human potential, when they talk about like leveling up, when they talk, you know, and not like just leveling up in skills, leveling up in your mind, and just
100%.
like it was the first thing in my life, and that's why I dedicated so much time, even just being in the gym, like no matter what, whether I fought or not, it's like the reward system for how much hard work you put in, regardless of the result. Like, bro, it's unparalleled. Like, you know, and it teaches you, like, you know, it just, in your mind, it's just the chemicals, everything just changes, bro. Because what it asks of you is you have to be, it depends how uncomfortable you want to go. You know what I mean? You know, but what you get out of it, you can't explain it. You can't put it into words, or, you know what I mean? You can't draw a picture that illustrates it to you. I can't show you something that, you know what I mean? You have to go through it. And it's like, it's hard to explain that to people. You know what I mean? It's hard to sometimes explain that to even people around who they just see the result. They just see, you know, all the little things, you know what I mean? Not the weekly, you know, the tough, you know what I mean? And that's what I'll always remember. Even just, you know, you're talking about going through the journey with someone. That's one thing I'll always remember for this fight camp, is like how tough. Like, it's the first time like my vulnerability got tested, because, bro, like, in due time people will, you know other things that have happened, but, you know, obviously I told you, like, personal things was going on, like, to handle all of that. But, bro, I'll look back, I'll never change it, because I pushed myself, bro. 100%. Like, I redlined, not even physically, redlined mentally, handling, you know what I mean, everything. And like, but I just kept telling myself, fuck, I'm gonna get through it, because end of the day, man, like, I'm not doing it for coin, I'm not doing it for what, you know what I mean? Just being able to balance it all. And I'm like, and I've told you before we jumped on the mic that, you know, even just from my last fight, just one moment will change everything.
For sure.
And you gotta, you know, like you don't get those moments unless you do the work to get to those moments. You know what I mean? And then, you know, so the bad and the good doesn't matter. But yeah,
mate, I truly feel that, like, even for me personally, it's boxing is a vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's like boxing's like martial. I look at boxing like as martial arts for me. I'm not violent in that. I'm not in that to the violence. I love just the points when you have to push yourself beyond your comfort levels, far beyond what you think you can do. And it's like you have to reach for something within you. And it's like that test of your spirit. Like the whole reason why I love the whole is it tests your spirit. And that's something that, like, mate, like, I think that life now, especially people more in this day and age, like, we're starting to get, it's people going back to spiritual side of things. You know what I mean? There's a lot more awareness around spiritual aspects of life, and it's not just,
you got to earn the right, man. That's why I told people you got to earn the right to have that exploration.
100%.
That thing, you know what I mean? It's not going to come being comfortable. I understand what they mean by, you know, being the uncomfortable, and, you know, I understand that, like, the reward system around it, because man, it's just and it just reminds you sometimes that what life is really about, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? In a crazy way. Like, you were talking about violence, like, it's the least thing sometimes you even think about. You know what I mean? Because there's so much more that comes with it. That makes the whole violence aspect, like, the least in terms of what I do for what you do it for. You know what I mean? So
I've always been like fascinated, or like the idea of always trying to level up. And reaching new depths of yourself, or whatever, new levels within yourself. And boxing is really the main way that I do it within myself. So even now, I'm starting to get fit again, getting in shape. And I'm like, it's like, I don't need to fight. Like, to me, it's not even about fighting. To me, it's more about just pushing yourself every day. Like, even the other day, we just went for a run, and I hadn't been able to crack 5-minute Ks for a while, just because I haven't been running or whatever. And I'm like, I just said at the start of the run, I'm like, you got to hit 4 minute 30 Ks. That's what I'm going to do. And so then I just started running, and I'm like, you know what? And I was tired. I wanted to slow down, and I was like, no, don't listen to that voice. Push beyond that, like. Push, like, you gotta fight for every inch of this 30 seconds that you
gotta get. Fight for what you want, bro. That's it.
And then so the music was on, and I end up doing 7.5 Ks at 4 minutes 30. Like, that, I've done a lot faster in my time, but that's just where I'm at now, starting to get fitter again now. And it's like, well, you got to push each day to get better and better. And it's like, even with your hand speed, right? Like, when I talk about, like, you got to go faster than you think you can go to get faster. And it's all in your mind first, then your body will catch up. And it's, but that's, I love it, bro.
You go on and on about it, bro. You know what I mean? So, with the promotion, obviously, based on what you said, like, it's off the back of not only your love for boxing, but your personal experience in seeing people in different gyms and kids just what it does for them, right?
So I would also say that when I was younger fighting amateurs, that there was no real good structure or good opportunities for young guys to fight on the regular. It's getting much better now. But like even with the fight shows, they weren't like grassroots boxing in Australia wasn't big. So if you look at guys that fight in America, like, a lot of them have in the amateurs, they have 200-300 amateur fights, and that's because there's so many different shows on at different times or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
And so in Australia, we never really had as many or whatever. Like, there wasn't that many a year. And so I always thought, I'm like, man, someone needs to come in and start making this as a big thing, so it gives the stage and platform for the young amateur fighters, because you get it as a professional, you do get that, like, especially now with No Limit and stuff like that. But for the amateurs, it's building them up as well.
So giving them the experience.
So my idea with doing the actual promotion is that it's more focused on the young fighters. So different things about, like, profiling different young fighters and then promoting them. And then so people like, oh, I know, I've seen this guy before. I know this guy. So we all have a story. Every person has a different story. So I want to start getting behind those stories as well and see why people are fighting or why people are doing boxing,
to create, like, content around that space with your shows as well.
That's right.
So is your goal, like, to have this as, like, a premiere show that gives them that exposure.
So this event we're doing, because I've partnered with PCYC.
Yeah.
And Adidas have come on as main sponsor. In June 10th, 17th, and 24th, we're hosting the Adidas Boxing Championships, and that's over 3 weekends in June. And so these are going to be at a Memento Hospitality venue. And what they're going to be, it's going to be a night. So like it's going to be DJs, like a proper event, not just because a lot of the shows now at the moment, just rock up, you fight and then go. There's no real atmosphere.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to make it like a fair bit of entertainment on the night, different DJ, like make it more of a an event, like so people want to fight on it.
I learned to appreciate it more coming off the back of a kickboxing background. Because not only you get to weigh in the night before, but all their shows are like proper like music, and you walk out like, you know what I mean? And it's a great experience, man. And it's actually a good experience. And it's a different type of experience, like personally, because you get to like, the whole build up and everything. You learn to kind of churn that out like into you, like learning 100%. How to handle it and stuff, right? So that is one thing I learned to appreciate more now, because like you said, with amateur boxing, it's kind of like, you're just there, you know what I mean? There's no that experience factor of it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's very different.
So and I think also that like coming in from my background is a little bit more sort of corporate style as well, like with work.
Yeah. Okay.
So getting people eyes on it that normally wouldn't even watch.
Yeah.
And just growing it that way.
That's how you have to grow it. Yeah.
I feel like boxing in Australia is a small circle of people. And so like you think about if we took it to the mainstream, then it actually, you get a lot more interest and people want to invest in it, want to grow it. And that's
where, I'm very big on this, because that's kind of what I base what I do on. But it goes back to what you said, the storytelling, bro.
100%.
That's why I love it. That's why I'm invested in what I'm doing, because once you tap into that, you can take someone who's not a big boxing fan, but just that story, that understanding will connect them. You know what I mean? 100%. And then the sport is just a sport, but your support is for that individual to do good at whatever they're trying to do. You know what absolutely. I mean? Like, so I completely agree, man. The one thing I always said about boxing or even fights in general is something I had a conversation with someone, and they're like, man, my brother, and it's something he said to me a couple of years ago, and he was like, I just don't know where to go. He goes, I just don't know like where to go get, you know what I mean? Sure. Like sometimes he doesn't even know. And so like I put him onto like Oz boxing and things like that. And he was like, oh, fucking, at least now I've got eyes on, like, you know what I mean? What's going on? But I agree with you, bro. Like that's half the problem. Is just, it's such a small circle or whatever, because they haven't tried to expand it out, and or even people that are maybe genuine fans just don't know how to have easy access to it. Sure. You know what I mean?
You know, it was so funny, because obviously going down this path now with the promotions, I hate public speaking. I hate it. Like, and I'm like, well,
you gotta fucking go
to be where I'm gonna want to be, and to do it, I have to get better at public speaking. Like, there's no if buts what's about it. So I end up joining up at Toastmasters, which is a public speaking thing. And there's one in Parramatta, and it's a big club. They're all suits. There's about 50 people in the club. So every second Thursday they meet, and there's 50 of them, and then you can get up and speak. And I said last year I said it was my biggest goal for last year to go and join and do it, because it's going to make me grow and face some of my fears.
Yeah.
And then I got sick, and then so I had signed up in that, and I couldn't go. So I had put my name to do a speech, and I couldn't go. And so I felt so deflated from not doing that. And then so this year I end up got a first one off the back, and I said I put my name down, and I end up going, and they end up giving a good speech. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, I said, you know what, I'm going to start speaking about my boxing, because none of these people in the room at all could relate to boxing, and I knew that. And I'm like, I just want to test this out. So I end up getting up, no notes, just a 7-minute speech on boxing, right? And I said to him, I look around the room, and I said, I see that no one here would be able to relate to boxing whatsoever. I said, but what you will be able to relate to is the principles that I've learned from boxing. And I said, and I promise you, if you apply these to any area of your life, you're going to have success. I said, because realistically, life is a fight. At different times, we are all fighting for something.
100%.
And so then I went into just give a few of the principles or learnings that I've learned from, and a couple of examples from my training. And mate, in the end up winning the best speech on the night, and end up that people got up and started cheering like people came up to me like people come up talking to me after, going, man, that was a sensational speech. And I'm just going, like, realistically, I can see the parallels between society, life, and boxing. That because it is true, man. The principles that you learn when you're training, when you're in those trenches, about facing adversity and building that character. If you can apply that to other areas of your life, you're gonna win.
And those are the same principles that I apply to all my passion stuff that I'm doing, bro. Like, no lie, that word for word is exactly what I've said to anyone that's ever I've ever spoken to about it in that sense. Like, that's exactly what I say. Like, the idea of like consistency and like you know and also like having the bad days and then getting to see the good days past the bad days, like when shit doesn't go to the shit doesn't go to plan. Like, I think the same way, and that's what it's given me, is that I learned to just deal with the adversity that comes. And I always say, bro, like, adversity runs through my veins, and I truly believe it, because sometimes you're afraid to just give yourself credit. It's not about where I end up or whatever. It's that there's so many moments that happen in my life that I'm like, fuck, I don't know how I got past it. You know what I mean? I never thought about it, but that's something like fighting and like training and like even boxing, especially like that last few years, has given me. You know what I mean? It's the same principles, like, you know what I mean? Like, even like we spoke briefly off mic about even my fight and just those little moments. That was life, bro. The way I looked at it was like, what example? Like, I was even telling Noosh, like my wife, like he like Ovi may not be consciously watching because he's still young, but it's the energy that I put out, and that's 100%. That moment I said, that's what I thought. My energy, like, what am I gonna what am I going to teach my kid? You know what I mean? Sure. That life is going to knock you down, but you got to fucking get up and go. You know what I mean? You got to fucking get up and go. You know what I mean? I agree with what you say, bro. Like, the parallels between life and boxing.
It was funny. A couple of the principles that I shared, one of them was be adaptable to change. Because life is, there's only one thing constant in life, and that is change. And, you know, when you're like in different times, different situations, even in a fight camp, like, just say you're going along great, and then something happens, you get injured, you have a shit day. You got to adapt for the next session about what you're going to do, how you're going to change that. You know? And even when you spar different fighters, you have no idea what's coming on the other side. But whatever they come with, you got to learn in those situations to try to adapt around it. And the other one, which is probably my favorite thing that I shared, was the results that you achieve will be in direct proportion to the effort that you apply. And that is key in anything you do in life. I said, if you give half-assed effort, you get half-assed results. And so that's in any area. If in a work environment, if you give half-assed effort to a job that you're doing or a half-assed project, then you're going to get no results from doing that. Whereas if you give 100% fully into it, and I love it sometimes when I hit the bag, I'm like, and I'm playing around, I'm being a bit lazy. I'm like, I talk to myself in my head, and I'm like going, like, hey, this is what you're going to get back when you go and spar. So like, this is the way you're training yourself. By doing this on the bag now, you're training yourself to perform like that when you actually go in the ring. So in those moments, it's like, well, even if whatever you're doing, right, if you're recovering, give 100% effort to your recovery. So if you're going hard, you give 110% effort to whatever you're doing at the time, sprints, whatever it is. Then you give everything that you got, and I promise you that comes back, because I'm massive on the law of karma, all that sort of thing. What you put out comes back. So if you're giving that effort out, then it's going to come back to you as well.
That's where confidence comes, bro. You know, when someone's confident, it's when they know they put in the work. You know what I mean? It's like, and you can almost feel it, that energy. You can feel it when you put in that work. You know what I mean? And the one thing, like, is you got to be honest with yourself. 100%. You know what I mean? You have to be honest with yourself, like, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it goes both ways. You know what I mean? If you look at the, you know, you can look at what the lessons of it, and you also can look at, you know, the good things of it, but ultimately you got to, you know, the conversation you have with yourself is going to be the most honest conversation you have with anybody, you know,
mate. And you know, like, we all have our inner voice, you know, like, and and your inner voice talks to you more than anyone else does.
Yeah.
So at different times, when you know you're walking the path and you're doing the right thing, what I always say, like, there's times in situations when you come to a situation that's going to be difficult, you have an option, and your inner voice always tells you, fucking divert, take the easy path or whatever it is. Or you can say, no, fucking take this challenge, step up to it, and it's going to be scary or whatever it is. You could fail. You could look like a you could look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you do that, I promise you, if you face up to it, that's where you get your freedom.
Yeah.
Because I like, even just for me, a perfect example, the public speaking. Like, I was shitting myself.
But it goes back to what I said. You got to earn the right.
100%.
And you earn the right because you threw
100%.
yourself in that uncomfortable zone. You say, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to fuck it. I'm going to
sure.
take whatever comes my way, but I'm going to fucking stand and fight.
For sure.
And that's what happened, bro. And in the end, you did a fucking speech on boxing, which fucking got a round of applause, bro. You know what I mean?
I drove home that night.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was fucking dancing.
Yeah,
in
it's
the car.
it's a different medal, yeah.
But I was like similar feeling to winning a fight because it's like I won a big personal victory that night because I'm like, I didn't back down from myself, and it's always, it's so easy just to say take the easy path or whatever it is, and say make an excuse, do whatever, and truly, like, if anyone listens to this and you think about, you want to grow, you want to become better, you have to face those things that scare you.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to. That's
100%.
it.
And bro, it's like free medicine. Like I was sharing the other day on my Mercenary Entertainment channel, like that. I think it was one of the Joe Rogan podcasts, but it was just a snippet, and it was saying South Australian, I think university or did a study, and they found that they're trying to get exercise to be a more mainstay way of depression and mental, like depression, and I think it was. But it was like in comparison to like getting counseling or something.
It was much more effective,
1.5 times more effective than counseling or something like that. Counseling is something else. It's not coming to me. But anyway, I believe in it, bro. Like, I'm not saying I've been to many gyms or whatever, but like that was one thing. That's one thing that I always have respect to you for, is like, bro, like I got attracted to the way you trained. You know what I mean? That's what it was, bro. I saw how hard you used to push. You know what I mean? Even like we used to train at next level and we used to do the lessons and shit. Like I was chasing you. You know what I mean? But more than anything, like I knew I liked the way how uncomfortable you used to want to go when you train, like especially our bunker session and stuff. Like, bro, like you have to want to go there, and that's something that I've always respected, is that like for me it was obviously easy because I get to follow, right? But like it taught so much about myself, but it also showed that, you know, you sometimes you're always looking to like, I got to put myself in an uncomfortable position to whatever, to test yourself, but at some point, bro, you got to tell yourself that that's who you are. That's who you are. So as much as you're chasing it, tell yourself, yo, I'm a type of person that is willing to go into these spaces and go into these worlds where things are going to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Enough shit has showed me that you know, and that's what I know, that's what we share, that same energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know me, you know, obviously so much of just even our relationship is based on boxing, but obviously there's other things, you know, what I do, or you know what I mean? And it's the same thing with you. And I think that's what it was with the training. It's just, I got to see a side of me that like pretty much now it's not trying to find or like trying to test yourself to see that. It's like stamping yourself that this is who I am. So I need to stop, you know what I mean? No matter what, I have to be on the move and always, you know what I mean? Like, what's the next thing? And I'll be honest with you, I'm already in my head, like, you know, I love doing triathlons and things like that. I'm already like, you know, because I'm with you when you talk about like training and exercise and even just, you know, setting those standards, because so much of the puzzles in life, like I always say, like so many things are clustered. You know, it's I think it was I keep saying it before, but Matthew McConaughey, he said it the most perfect way, bro. I could explain it. He was like, all your problems are like in front of you, right? And he was talking about his training and why he trains and etc. And he goes, everything falls like vertical, like right in front of you. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know how to attack one thing by one. You know what I mean? So many things seem fucking chaotic, and you need to do something that brings you straight in. You know, straight in, and you realize, okay, shit's chaotic, but you learn how to handle it. And that's what I was telling my wife. I was like, I would never push our kids to train, like, or to fight or anything. But training is important because I know what it does. And it doesn't mean that it's gonna stop them from making a mistake or whatever. Because if it's fucking my kid, they're gonna fucking make some mistakes. You know what I mean? So, but it's learning how to handle when shit gets chaotic. Learning how to handle yourself, how to slow things down. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to say to yourself, "I fucked up," but how do I come from it? You know what I mean? And it's those lessons, bro, that I'm very addicted to. That I know no matter what, bro, till I fucking die and they burn me alive, I'm gonna be training, bro, because it's free medicine, bro. You know what I mean? And so it must feel good though, like for you to be able to get into a space where not only is it about the boxing aspect of it, but you know there's good coming out of that. You know what you're doing in that sense as well, just in terms of people, you know, just people in general, males and females, and just, you know, what they,
For sure, man. And I think also, like,
their growth.
You can see, I love seeing the young guys coming up and you just even, like, speak some words of belief into them and they become that person as well. And I think that's, like, a big thing, even, like, because the promotion's one thing. Also, I'm doing a fair bit more coaching now as well.
I see you around the kids, man. I see you around the kids.
And I love it. I love pushing to that extra level, you know. And what I want to be is an example. The reason why I'm back training is, like, hard again is because I want to be in that example when they watch. I love it when people come and they stop and they start watching me in the gym and they're like, this guy's a fucking machine. And it's like, for me, that's I'm doing it as like they can do it too. It's not. I just keep doing it, like, because when I get in that zone, I have to go face it every time, and it's like it doesn't get easier. Like, I still feel those same limits every time, and it's like, well, I choose to push past those limits. I choose that when I'm in that state or in those zones, it's like I'm not going to let that stop me. Like, I don't fight anyone else. Look, even when I fight, I don't even think about the other guy at all. I just get that feeling when it's slowing you down, when you're feeling all the lactic acid and that kicking in. And it's like I'm not succumbing to this feeling. And so even I absolutely love when I'm in a fight camp and I just go down to the track. It's a 400-meter track. It's just me. No one's there, and I get sick in the stomach because I know that I have to face that feeling, and then like I have to go to the toilet twice just every time, bro. Every time. And then anyway, but I start, and after one of the laps, it's 400. I run it's just over a minute. That's my normal pace. And it's 100% effort, 100% sprint. And you can feel the lactic acid, the wall kicking in. And it's like, well, do you fucking slow down and succumb to that? Or do you just stay at the edge of your limit every time?
Life, bro.
That's what it is. And I'm like, that for me is the biggest mental training, because it's like you stay at the edge of that limit, and then it's like you start doing that elsewhere in your life as well. And I feel like now, like even a big thing that was holding me back was not using my voice. Like, just say, for example, with the public speaking, because I always shit myself whenever I'll do it. And I'm like, I'm not going to let that hold me back anymore now. So you'll see different areas where it's going to be, I'm going to be out there a bit more in terms of actually speaking about boxing and how it actually can change people's lives. And that really, that's it's my goal to grow.
It's an exciting journey, bro. You get what I'm saying? It's different, but it's the same challenges. It's the same little ingredients, you know, that you would have learned, you know, through boxing and stuff as well. You know what I mean? It's just a different fight. You know what I mean?
You know what was funny? Because sometimes after you have a mad sparring session and there's people there watching, you get out and people give you a certain look of respect. They just give you a head nod or whatever it is, like that, right? And after I did my speech at Toastmasters, I walked back to my thing, and the look of respect that they give me, that like the people that were like, there's a few people
they're sitting up.
It was the exact same fucking look, and I'm just going, man, this is mad. I can get this look without getting punched in the head.
I thought you were gonna say start a shadow boxing.
but
that's crazy, bro. You know, it's crazy.
It's different. It's a different fight, but it's still the same sort of
principles.
Same thing,
same principles, bro.
And that's like even for anything that we do in life, you, me, whoever it is, it's like they're not dissimilar.
Yeah.
Like the artist and the writer still feel the same sort of challenges.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like they're different, but they're at the core of it. A lot of it's the same.
The principles, man. That's what I'm saying. It's the same ideology.
Yeah.
It's just applying it. You're applying it differently. You know what I mean? So I completely agree, man. Like that's why it's you know, I'm so happy that you're going down this lane, like, and doing it, because I can see, like, obviously people that are around you see it, but I know you genuinely like the coaching aspect of it. I mean, I personally know, because you've coached me a large chunk of like my boxing life, right? To this point. And you know, I see how you're with the kids, and you know, I can see it's genuine. So that's why it's good to not only get into the promotion, but you're getting the promotion from something that you're genuine about. It's not so much a way to just do something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for your personal self. Like, there's more to it. What's the idea of this moving forward, bro? Is this something you want to, like, is it, so it seems like that you're in a space, like you're in a situation where it's not even just purely about headlining, it's also collaborating with other shows or brands or whatever it is.
My thoughts with it is just to grow the sport in general. So like I want to work with the different, it's not like I'm coming in to try to take over or whatever. And I'm not thinking like that at all. My thoughts with it is come in, work with all the people. Like I've got decent networks now.
Of course.
But don't come in and be a fuckwit either. So actually come in and actually help build it up. So whether that's building up other people to do partnerships or whatever it is. But so my idea is obviously, because I partnered with PTYC with this event. Then after that is to do a few of my own events. And then so obviously, because I'm connected with a lot of the Bombers team. With Arnell and that. So put a lot of his guys on, do shows. So I want to do a large, because the venue where we're doing that, it's got a large grandstand and soccer field. And so I want to do an outdoor. So next summer, that's what I want to build up to. So and then maybe one day when all these young amateurs sort of get to know all of them, build a bond with all of them, and then they're sort of loyal with me as well. And then in 5-6 years time, whatever it is, start doing a few pro shows as well. And then so then you got the crop from when they're amateurs to the pros. And I would love to, like, longer term, maybe do something about managing and helping guys out as well. You know, so that's.
I would love to be involved in that form somehow. You know, like that's the way I look at even with other, you know, obviously we all belong to some community, right? And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be able to, you know, find someone. I would love to find someone from my community that just I get to, everything we spoke about, just the experience and what they get to feel and and all that, and just, you know, see that whole journey and be able to, like, open doors that way, you know, that, like, it hasn't always just been about just doing boxing, you know what I mean? Because I want people to feel what I feel, bro. Ultimately, in a sum, I just want them to feel what I feel, and just realize that sometimes you're just really overcomplicating your life. You know what I mean? It's like, you've got to, like, the whole humbling experience, bro. Like, you know, just it makes you really appreciate the little things, bro. Like the most tiniest things. And you're like, fuck, you know what? I got it good, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I fucking got it good. Like, what the fuck am I complaining about, you know? Like, to get beat up, you get that kind of feeling, you know what I mean? But
you know what I feel? I feel like it uncomplicates a lot of things. And shows you what life is really about. And you turn it not minimalistic, but you turn, like, you don't need so much.
The most simple things, your gratitude is, like, it's very simple, like, you know what I mean? Because I think you are, like I say, it goes back to, you get to go through all sorts of emotions, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're fucking vulnerable, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, you know, even for people that don't know, like, it's the first time even I've teared up in front of you, you know what I mean? It's the most, but it's a different drug, bro. Like, you get to explore all those different sides of you, and I just think when you come out of it, you're like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Wow, like, you know, so
you want to go again?
Here we go. Exactly.
But you know, like, it's one of the biggest self-discovery journeys that you can go down. So you go through, it's like the biggest roller coaster in the world.
And you don't even have to fight, bro. It's how you apply yourself. It's how you, like you said, how you apply yourself for training. You go and be sluggish and be lazy on the bags. You're stopping yourself from what your experience would be like if you actually went and pushed yourself mentally. You know what I mean? Like, it's about being able to push yourself mentally, and all those little moments. I always say, like, when you're doing it tough, you're not thinking about that moment. You're not thinking about I need to, you know what I mean? Like I'm not, I'm not doing this, or my body's not doing that. You're just, like, for me personally, I'm thinking about all the shit in life that's fucking holding me back. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's where I get my battery, recharge from. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, and then when you get into a situation like yourself, as well, when now you're also an example to someone, it's different. And that's why I was really happy when you said that, because it's important. Like, I know you take pride in how you lead, and and it's something that I try to do, even not in just boxing, but just in everything. Like, I realize there's an importance in how you lead, because when you lead and you feeding people that may have that similar, you know what I mean? That similar drive, or like I said, when you go hard, I love it, because that's I'm leveling up, and I know I got to push myself. For sure. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people go, leader. It's not about leader like, I'm your leader. It's, bro, someone's always watching. You know what I mean? Someone's always watching. And that's the difference between that is like someone who has a potential to do something versus they don't explore it because they have no one they can kind of obtain to that. You know what I mean? Well, bring that side. So
it's, as you know, it's funny because my best mate Joe, he just he messaged me a few weeks back and said, I want to start doing a bit of boxing. And I said, come down to Arnell's. And he hasn't boxed before, right? And so he came down. He did pads with Arnell, and he loved it. He goes, man, that was unreal. So each week he's been coming back. And me and him grew up together, like from 13 to and so we're very similar in our nature and even in our spirit, everything where we are. And it's funny because I see a lot of guys training in the gym, and they train hard, but they don't push to that extra level. And he's never had really any proper boxing training, right? But Arnell the other day started pushing him to that level of going. And just to see, he had that heart and that spirit in him. He was just doing that, going like this super hard on the pads. But I'm like, I just saw so much of me in him doing that because I'm like, that's what people respect. It's like when they hit that barrier and it's like, fuck, they want to slow down. But then he's like, no, like harder.
Because there's a way out. There's an easy way out. And that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like that moment, that challenge of like, do I take the easy way out or do I get more uncomfortable and see what's waiting for me on the other side? Knowing that shit may not go to plan. You know what I mean? And it's just that alone, that growth. There's nothing to show or no object to illustrate it. You know what I mean? You have to fucking go through it. You know what I mean? And you start to see the real riches of life, bro. You know what I mean? What the real riches of life really is, you know? So, but it's so good, man. Like, I mean, we obviously can go on, but, bro, like, even just with your promotion, I think, first of all, I want to applaud you for getting it to this point. I remember you always talking about it for a while. So it was obviously there was no doubt that it was going to come to fruition, but it's good that it's just around the corner. And I know for a fact, bro, it'll do well because, I'd like to think regardless of whatever journey I've got to know you as a person, your mind and your drive. And the one thing I know is whatever you put your heart to, you lose sleep, put it that way. I know you lose sleep over it and, you'll be thinking about it. You're a thinker, bro. Like, and that's why I respect that. So, and it's so good for you to, because I was thinking about this. I was like, obviously, I don't need to write questions down for you because I know the moment you walk in, bro, we're going to, we'll talk. I'm not worried about it. But one thing I was thinking about was like, I feel like I got to see a lot of like your hardest moments, and even just in boxing in general, but just what it did to you in your life. Obviously with when you injured yourself, then when you were sick, unwell, and going back to the earliest days when you had other issues as well, and but like I don't think people really understand your drive, you know what I mean, and like I'm glad I got to be in the most closest vicinity to see that, be able to train with you and all that. And so there's been so many fucking hurdles and so many moments, even up to last year, will happen with this big fight and everything. But it's so good that you found a way to, more than just the promotion, more than anything, bro, like showing the boxing, like this will really show how much you love the sport, like, which I just don't think people really understand, how much you love the sport and how much you love helping people and also see people grow and go through that journey. Like I've personally been there. I've been right by your side and seen it. And like I said, I was saying the kids, like, you know, because we train at similar times. I've seen you walk into the gym within fucking 5 minutes. You're at a kid's, you know, you're in front of a kid teaching him how to jab or like I see that shit. I don't say anything in those moments, but I see it. And, you know, like I always, you know, like, you know how I am, bro. Like, you know, I'm always downloading shit around me, you know, so... You know, I've seen you genuine when you walk in, like, you know, just almost immediately you're there. You know, you don't even think about warming up for yourself or anything. You're next to a kid, you're getting him to jab or, you know, and so I know for a fact it's going to do well because these are the things that I don't think the general public will see, you know what I mean, and get to see, you know what I mean? But I think it's good that you found something in a way to stay in that element because I always felt almost sad at some point of just some of the fucking tribulations because I just wish people got to see those end results. You know what I mean? The way that I know how you train your mentality and just what drives you. And I just sometimes wish like people got to see that aspect of it. You know what I mean? Because, you know, unless you're in it, you don't know and you don't see it. You know what I mean? So it's good that you found an avenue that you get to express those things in a different way. Sure. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. It's fucking quite deep, but I thought about it. I thought about it today. Because, bro, end of the day, bro, like people you may know through social media and whatever, but you've been through some shit together, you know, like especially for me with what I've been through, like people will never know. Like I was telling, you know, Nush the other day, I was like, there's a small handful of people that will always share this thing with me. Bond. It's a whole different bond, a whole fucking different bond. When you say, even if anyone's trying to imagine it, stop imagining because you're not gonna fucking know how that feels, you know. But it's something.
I feel sorry for people that don't get to experience.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And
100%.
Like that's why the more people that get to experience, the more special it is.
Yeah, because it's a fucking bond, bro. It's a bond like that. It really teaches you about human relationships and how to carry yourself and how to even treat other people. Because you're in there, bro. Like how someone feels one day or makes or breaks them could be on just how you speak to them at that certain points. You know what I mean? It's a fucking truth, bro.
So sensitive.
So sensitive. So you're like, fucking hate you, life. But I really appreciate it, man. And I wanted to tell you, like, you know what I mean? That I fucking... you know, regardless of whoever and whatever, like I'm a man of principle and you fucking, you've stood up for me at the toughest of times. You've always backed me no matter what. You know, if I fucking rang you tomorrow and said I'm fighting next week, I know you'll be like, you know, your mentality will be you're going to fuck shit up because that's just the energy you've always given me. You know what I mean? No matter what I wanted to do, you've always had my back. You know what I mean? There's no one more deserving of any success, you know what I mean, that comes forward because I'm very big on time, bro. I'm very big on what someone does for you. And I don't think people realize how much of a value and how much when someone giving their time actually is a lot. It's a fucking lot. I know personally, and I know how much time you've given me. And, you know, with all the training, you know, just mentally being there, always checking up, all those little things, bro. I don't take that shit for granted. You know what I mean? Sure. I know a lot of people wouldn't even take a breath to even be able to handle that or even do that. You know what I mean? And I know that whoever you give that energy to around you, always get, you know, they all get the same treatment. You know what I mean? So, you know, whoever has that relationship with you always gets that same treatment. You know what I mean? So, no, I appreciate it, man. And I just wanted, you know, I could have easily told you, but, you know, I think everyone fucking has a right to know, you know, I'm sure everyone has an opinion and whatever, but that's the person I know. And no matter what happens moving forward, I know we'll have plenty of training, you know, training sessions and whatever, but I'll never take those moments for granted, bro, because not only did I get to experience something that, you know, I'll get to say one day that I did something that many, if any, will ever get to experience.
For sure.
But, you know, also at the same time, bro, I had someone who fucking literally had my back. Like, it wasn't just business, you know, it was someone that had my fucking back, and that's a quality you have, and that's why I know that Wanderer Promotions is gonna fucking do well. I was gonna bring it all back to your promotions, you know what I mean? I know it's gonna fucking do well. I'm not even worried about it, bro. You know what I mean? But I'm excited that you get to at least put your footprint in something that, you know, has been a tough journey for you as well. You know what I mean? Or you get to show it a different way, man.
Thanks, bro.
Nah, but
gonna make me cry, man.
Yeah, it's all right, man.